This is Tara Nevins from Dawn of the Buffalo, and you're listening to Community Radio, WMNF Tampa.
The opinions presented on the Healthy Steps show are the evidence-based opinions of Dr. Fred Harvey, the callers, and his guests. These are not the opinions of the staff, the volunteers, or the board of WMNF. The information provided on the show is not intended to diagnose or treat any disease. There is no implied patient-physician relationship in these calls. The nature of the calls is educational and informational only.
Good morning to you. Yes, you my smart and good-looking companion of the airwaves. Get in here close, because I'd like to give each and every one of you a huge bear hug for keeping your radio tuned to WMNF Tampa, the only community-supported radio station that Nick Danger would ever stream, and you can stream us as well at your convenience by going to WMNF.org. Well, rock my soul. This very morning is Ask Me Anything Monday. This day and this show comes with the anticipation of your participation in the Healthy Steps radio show. This Ask Me Anything has a breath of its own when you share your medical questions, comments, and concerns. And Irene came in this morning expecting, nearly hoping to take your call. Just give us a jingle at 813-239-9663. Once again, that number to call is 813-239-9663, or you can send an email to dj@wmnf.org. And don't forget, you can also text us at 813-433-0885. Okay, Dr. Harvey, Ask Me Anything Monday can't get here fast enough for my liking. And I know that you have another spectacular show prepped for us, so let me turn this show over to your capable hands. What's ahead for us today, Doctor?
Well, it looks like there's a bunch of rain still ahead for us, which is very good.
Yeah, it was certainly true coming on in, and I suggest anyone driving today keep it in mind that the Howard Franklin is a bit complicated.
A little messy today, huh?
Oh, indeed. It took me an hour to do a 25-minute drive.
Oh, Lord, yes. So take it easy, folks. Drive slowly. Keep your eyes open and be safe. But we need this rain. Boy, what a drought we've been in. Let's hope the land soaks some of this up and it doesn't run off too much. You know, I love this community, and you're all so engaged. One of our regular listeners and contributors, Pete, sent a video to me. He sent me a link to a YouTube channel, Gooby and Doobie. Gooby's a doctor, I believe, and Doobie's his dog. And this very interesting doctor had a lot to say in about an hour-long video. But I'm not going to play any of it today. I'm just going to summarize what this guy had to say. And he thinks he's in a midlife crisis, or was. But I would have to agree with one of the commentators on his channel that this is actually his awakening. And I think we're all at a point in time here where we have an opportunity for an awakening, because he realized something. This guy's a neurosurgeon. I don't know if you realize this, but neurosurgeons go through about 10 years of postdoctoral training. Yeah. They actually have to do like a full surgical residency, which is 5 years, and they have to do a full neurosurgical residency, which is 5 more years, after 8 years of college and med school. So they're 18 years into training. These guys are highly skilled. He was highly unsatisfied because he realized something that I realized with a personal health crisis, but also with watching my clients. Because by 93, I think I had realized that it was time for me to move on from conventional illness care medicine. And this neurosurgeon did too, because he realized that his surgeries were not consistently getting people better. You know, it's pretty clear. You see this big fat disc bulging out and sitting on somebody's nerve. You think, okay, well, if I just take that away, their nerve pain should go away. But what he found out was some people got fabulously better. Some people stayed the same, and some people actually got worse. He says, and this is the quote, I believe, "My surgeries were not addressing the real reasons for the back pain." He wasn't actually treating the back pain. He was treating something he saw on an X-ray. In 1987, I read a study by radiologists. They were looking at a correlation between radiographic studies, MRIs, CAT scans, and X-rays, and the findings on there and correlating that with people's symptoms. What they found was there was absolutely no correlation. You could have an MRI, a CAT scan, or an X-ray that showed horrendous pathology, bone on bone joints, just destruction, discs that were completely gone or squished out, pressing on a nerve. And others that had absolutely no pathology, completely clean joints, completely clean spine. But some of the people with the horrible visual pathology had no symptoms, and some of the people with absolutely no findings on the radiographs had horrible symptoms. They didn't correlate. And so he discovered I think he quit work 2 years ago. He discovered some 20 some years, almost 30 plus years after that study was produced, that what he was actually chasing was smoke and mirrors. His profession gaslit him. It's very cut and dried. I hate to say it, but pun is intended. Surgery is cut and dried. There's only one answer. If you go to a surgeon, they're going to say, we can do surgery or we can't do surgery. He felt horrible when he told people that he had nothing surgical to offer them because he's a surgeon and there was nothing else he directly had to offer to help these people get better. And that frustrated him for years, to the point where he got physically ill, doing surgeries that weren't helping people, convincing people to do things because the system suggested that it happen. He described, I think, something really interesting. I believe that many people in medicine deal with this if they have a sense of self that's of integrity. And that is, he felt like he had a moral injury. Think about that, a moral injury. He was hurting himself by doing something that the system said was right. Not exactly just following orders, but doing what he knew to help people that wasn't really helping all the people. He even brought it around again to say that our national focus on extracting a profit from everything, and that was just well illustrated by the previous show. Amy Goodman always points out how capitalist fascism hurts people because it extracts profit from their bodies and from their lands. And our national focus on capitalism thwarts healing. He describes it really well. If you have a procedure that, open quotes, helps, close quotes, some people, and the open quotes system, close quotes, which systems don't really exist here, gets paid, it sort of works for the non-existent system. Hospitals get paid, doctors get paid, and the medical industrial complex gets to extract profit and moves forward, because that's what growth industries are about, making more profit. But truly, he pointed out that healing is inexpensive. Healing gets people better. Procedures aren't always necessary when people get better, so procedures go down. Systems shrink. Hospitals feel the pain. Doctors don't make as much profit. And that's not good for capitalism. So it's really not in this quote system that doesn't really exist. This way we look at things, the paradigm of illness care, not health care. It's not about healing. It's about the name it, blame it, tame it game. Name the disease, blame the disease, tame the disease, and you got to charge. There's a financial charge at each step. You charge for the diagnostics to name it. You charge for the interpretation of the diagnostics to blame it and make a plan, and then you charge for the pill or the procedure to tame it. So there's an extractive profiteering process throughout the entire process, and he felt he was being morally injured. He couldn't do it anymore. So he decided with his wife to make a change, and he quit. And so now he's recording these videos about, making change. And what he found out was the people that did change in his practice, that actually got involved in their own healthcare, the people that truly understood what health was about and listened to his suggestions, people that changed their diet. And by stopping consuming processed foods, salt consumption goes down, because most processed foods are heavy in salt to get you to taste it. Because, when you're eating cardboard in a box, you got to add some salt, sugar, and fat to make it taste like something other than cardboard in a box. And it's a plant-heavy diet. It's what I talk about all the time. The Mediterranean diet is a plant-heavy diet. We could call it plant-based. I like a plant-based diet. A plant-based diet, like a Mediterranean diet, that's 80% plant and 20% animal, 90% plant, 10% animal. These are the diets of longevity. These are the diets of health. People switching to whole foods diets actually get healthy. They heal. My back went out in 1993. My right leg was paralyzed. But I realized I was in the same position that neurosurgeon was in. He had gained 40 pounds while he was hating his life. I had too. And during that time, I broke. I snapped. My back snapped and my leg was paralyzed. But I chose to change. I stopped doing the work that I was doing. That's when I quit. I changed my diet. I changed my exercise. I changed my mindset. I added nutritional supplementation, herbs, exercises, yoga, meditation, breathing. I found chiropractors and acupuncturists and other types of healers, nurse healers and holistic healers and energy workers. And I changed my life, and my back pain went away. Within 3 months, the paralysis was gone. Within 6 months, the pain was gone. I no longer took any medication for it. I did not have surgery. Because when you change yourself, you change the disease, because pain and disease are actually signs that you're doing the wrong thing to yourself right now. So if you have pain right now, you might want to consider why you've given yourself pain. I'm not blaming you. We're all in the same boat. Stuff happens. I was caught up in my life, and I gave myself back pain. And I gave myself a paralyzed leg to make me realize that I was stuck, that I was not progressing. I was not stepping forward into the life that I desired and deserved to live. Instead of living with moral injury, I moved on. Exercise. You got to exercise to sweat every day. No smoking. Low alcohol or none. Sleeping till you're rested, 7-8 hours. Low stress. Get rid of the stress. Vent it. Have time with your family in the afternoon to unload the day so you can move on, close it out, and have a nice evening. You got to have a support system, a tribe that you jive with, a tribe that supports you, that's like-minded, that you're all moving in the same direction, so you have that group support. We're not islands. We need people with us. A core of several close friends and family surrounded by a tribe of like-minded people helps propel us forward with purpose. And it's my purpose to actually help y'all understand how important rethinking what health is to you and rethinking what illness is. We can talk about that here on the Healthy Steps Show, WMNF Tampa.
And we invite you to talk about that. I do have Linda and Gary on the line, but I want to invite you to participate in the Healthy Steps Radio Show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa. Give us a call at 813-239-9663 or send your emails to dj@wmnf.org. Again, that number is 813-239-9663. Now let's go to some folks that have jingled the number. Linda, how are you doing today?
Thank you so much for that. The
You're
body is a miraculous healing machine, given and taken and doing what it needs instead of all of the garbage that we're putting in it. And on that note, I would love to know how I can keep my entire vascular system soft and supple.
Well, that's a master class or a weekend seminar. However,
Top
There
three.
are
Top three things.
the basic things is get 30 minutes of exercise every day. Do not smoke cigarettes and avoid the center of the grocery store. Do the periphery, eat whole foods. Those three things will change your life. And if you don't smoke already, the third thing to do is make sure that you get enough sleep.
Okay. How about nitrous oxide?
Nitric oxide is something that your body makes, and it helps dilate blood vessels. And the way you make more nitric oxide is by doing exercise where you breathe through your nose rapidly. So get some heavy duty aerobics that triggers nitric oxide production. Also, eating things that support nitric oxide production, like beets and beet greens that contain arginine. You could take supplements, but if you just eat good foods, you tend to actually support that.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have
You're
a great
welcome.
week.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you there, Linda. Let's go to Gary. Good morning to you, Gary.
Well, first of all, good morning, you guys.
Hi there.
I wanted to say that I went into an organic store, and of course, we in the back, the fruits and vegetables, they all begin with number 9 under the UPC symbol.
Yes.
Then I went to another organic store, and right in front of the store, they had clear containers of fruit, and it's organic on the container, but they didn't start with 9. I'm thinking, now what the heck is going on? So I did a little homework, and I found out that they could put organic on the containers if the organic fruit is 70% organic. Did you know that?
No, that's a new one. So they've watered down the organic talking point, the marketing point. And so you say that the number on the fruit was not starting with a 9?
That's right. Containers.
What did it start with?
It said organic on the containers, but it did not start with 9.
What number did it start with?
I can't remember.
Okay. So most of the non-organic stuff seems to start with 4s. 9 in that number on the fruit and vegetable sticker indicates organic. I don't know what this in-between thing is, and I wouldn't trust it. So I'd stick with fruit that's labeled 9. There's another in-between that's called no spray, and there are some farms here in Florida locally that do no spray. They're going to have trouble getting an organic certification because they're surrounded by farms that spray. So if you have a big tomato farm like in Ruskin that sprays the heck out of glyphosate or whatever else they spray on things on tomato farms, you will have overspray and runoff. And so the farm next door might end up with these chemicals on it. So they don't spray themselves, but there could be some contamination on no spray crops. They're still better than sprayed crops.
All right, Big Doc.
Glad to help, Gary.
Goodbye, guys.
Have a great day.
And thanks for that information there, Gary. I do have Bob and Aaron. Let's go to Aaron in Bradenton. Good morning, Aaron.
Hey, good morning, guys. How we doing?
Great, Aaron. How are you?
Pretty good. Just having a little fun playing in the rain today.
Oh, yes.
Good stuff. Yeah, it is good rain. We definitely need it.
You know it. What do you have for us, Aaron?
I wanted to just ask you in general, what are your thoughts on marijuana? Do you advocate for it at all? What are your thoughts? What are your stances?
I think cannabis is a safe herb that's been used for millennia by humans. I think that it has been hybridized to the point where it's super potent and can actually induce some problems for some people. I think that when you extract, and I'm going to use that word extract here in the sense that we're extracting profit from the herb, but we also extract the THC from it and put it in concentrated form to make more profit and deliver it without having to smoke it, which may be healthier, but the concentrations in these recreational lollipops and such can be really high. In fact, they can be so high they cause problems for people. But and there's another problem, is that our federal government is psychotic, as we all know, and it's prevented the actual study of a safe herb like cannabis because it has to protect the job creators in pharma to let their pharmaceuticals be used before a natural herb, of course, because they're so much better to use synthetic petrochemicals than a natural plant extract. Yes, I hope you all understand that is a facetious statement. I don't believe that myself. But the nature of our world is that, we don't know enough specifically about how dosing works and what to use. I mean, more and more people are getting it, but there's not a lot of good, solid clinical studies on it. So I do believe that it does help with people's symptoms, but it can also hurt. So it really does help if you have a need to use it for anxiety or something like that, and you're not just looking to use it recreationally, then you might want some direction, because somebody with psychosis or a history of schizophrenia could actually get worse on it. But many people feel better, and there may be some instance where CBD is good anti-inflammatory. It may alter the course of some disease, and there may be some use for THC and altering the course for some disease, but we just don't have enough information on it to say this treats that or that treats this. And it's kind of stupid that they force doctors to actually make a prescription for an arbitrary 8 or whatever group of symptom or diseases that cross cover each other. It's weird the way the state has set it up to force us to do it medically.
Yeah, and so I guess you're speaking mostly about like edibles and stuff like that in the edible form, yes?
I'm speaking about all of it. I mean, I'm a certifying doctor, and I write for smoking, but I actually suggest that people don't smoke it and combust it, that they actually use a dry flower vape device that heats the plants so that it off gases the THC, and still you don't have to breathe ionized carbon particulate damaging stuff, because polyaromatic hydrocarbons that come from smoking come from all kinds of smoking. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It's actually particulate air pollution you're inhaling. Sure. And then there's also the concept of is the particulate that comes from the dry vape any less harmful?
Maybe even worse.
Well, maybe not if you're doing the plant. If you're doing an extract that's, in oil, then you have to wonder. But if you're doing just the plant, I mean, I don't know. We don't have enough data on it. But it does seem to help some people. And I think that as an alternative for somebody who does feel benefit with anxiety, it's a much better choice than doing a benzodiazepine, which is addictive and destructive.
No, what I found interesting was that the last time I went to get my prescription going again for cannabis, the doctor told me that they don't do it for pain anymore.
Well, they did take actually chronic pain off the list. You have to actually have another diagnosis that's associated with pain. It's a game. It's this weird thing that the legislature who hates. They hate it. This legislature hates cannabis. They don't want us to have it. So they make it difficult as heck to be able to access it, even with the constitutional amendment.
I thought that was bizarre because, I mean, I'm mostly on the edible side. I find it to be far more more impactful for my back pain and different pains I got going on from my physical life. And I thought that was bizarre that they took pain away.
Yeah, well, you have to have another thing, and so unless you're dying of a terminal illness, they won't give it to you for pain. These people want you to suffer. They want you to turn to alcohol and opiates.
Sure. Yeah.
It's weird why they want you to do that when they're so destructive. I guess it's because their cronies must own a lot of alcohol and opiates stock.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, those are some of the biggest businesses in the world.
Yeah, alcohol is the biggest poison on the planet, and we don't regulate it enough. It's available for 16-year-olds to go and buy at the local store because that's what happens. I mean, this is America. We'd rather have people inebriated with alcohol than chilled out on some weed.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's just keep working at it and keep talking. But yeah, one point that I did want to make on the edibles, and you kind of touched on it really quickly, is yeah, I'm having a hard time figuring out, like, now, because all the edibles keep changing at these places, and, they're not very specific on how they're capturing the THC and the CBD molecules. Like, is this from a concentrate? Is this from a flower? Like, I want some answers, and I'm not really getting it. Got any thoughts there?
Yeah, it's difficult. You can actually get them to explain the process on some of the things, and for the vapor devices, they have different extractive processes. Some that use just water, like the live rosin uses just water, but they don't put the live rosin into the edibles generally.
Yeah, that's what I want.
They use like an alcohol or a CO2 extractive. At least that's better than using butane or whatever it is they have used in the past.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, it's still a kind of a frontier industry because it's the Wild West out there. It's the federal government has written it off because they're not about to step on the toes of Big Pharma because they're all paid off by Big Pharma, and so we're not going to get it out the door federally until we have a conscious government.
Yeah,
that's going to be a while, I think.
Well, God bless everybody, and appreciate you, Dr. Frey. You guys have a good day up there.
You too, Aaron. Have a wonderful one.
See ya.
Thank you there, Aaron. And I do have Bob on the line. Let's go to Bob in St. Pete. Good morning there.
Hi. Thanks for answering my call. I have had 4 failed back surgeries, and a fifth one. I had surgery because I had a pinched spinal cord. But the first 4, the first doctor that did surgery on me for stenosis in my leg went in and did a pretty poor job of a fusion in my lower vertebrae. And,
wow, how old were you to get a fusion?
Oh, I was in my 50s. But
okay.
I had tried a year of alternative medicine. My daughter is a doctor of acupuncture. Couldn't help me. I could not get any sustained relief from acupuncture.
Yeah, spinal stenosis. Spinal stenosis is like the one diagnosis that has been shown to have efficacy with back surgery. It works in most people. What kind of surgeon did your original back surgery?
You're correct. Unless you have osteoporosis in your spine, which is what I had. And we didn't find that out until after the third surgery.
Wow, you're a man at 50 with osteoporosis. Do you have celiac disease?
Well, what I did is I went to Mayo Clinic.
Why do you have osteoporosis? Do you have celiac disease, or what's causing that?
No. I went through about a 6-year period as a vegetarian, a very poor vegetarian. I didn't take care of my B12, or I didn't eat enough protein. And, Mayo Clinic could look at my charts and see where I failed, where it really happened at. Anyway, so after the third surgery, a friend of mine said, doctor friend of mine said, why don't you go to a clinic? A clinic will give you a straight answer. He said, go to Mayo Clinic, Shands Clinic, any clinic, and they will do testing on you and find out the cause. So that's what I did. And that's where they found the osteoporosis. And I had a 4th surgery to remove hardware in my back. And then that surgeon wanted to do more surgery, but that's when I got involved with Mayo. My point is this. Go to Mayo Clinic first. these frickin' doctors around here, these surgeons, they want to sell surgery. That's their goal. And they're good. They're good salespeople. My surgeon, the first one, said, Bob, you can be out rollerblading and skiing again. I mean, that's a damn lie.
What kind of surgeon was your first surgeon?
Oh, this is a crazy thing. So I get surgery down in South Florida, in Fort Lauderdale.
So was he a neurosurgeon or an orthopedic
No,
surgeon?
he was orthopedic.
Oh, Lord, there's your mistake.
Right.
Don't let an orthopedic surgeon work on your back. Neurosurgeon only.
I didn't know any of that until later on, that neurosurgeons do back surgeries, not orthopedic surgeons.
Yes.
But what I found out is, so he does the surgery and it fails. I go to his office, and guess what? All his associates left him. He was sued in
Lord.
court. Oh, yeah. He was sued in court and still in business, still doing the same surgery.
Yeah. That happens all the time.
Right. Yeah, he lost a huge lawsuit with over 100 patients, I think. I didn't know anything about it.
I don't know if you know about this, but about 15 to 20 years ago, there was a guy at University Hospital in Tampa that took off the wrong leg.
Oh, yeah.
And they didn't take his license away, and he took off a different foot, the wrong one, a year and a half later.
Well, it's so awful that you have to laugh at it. I mean, it's just insane. But that's what these orthopedic doctors do. They have no business doing neurosurgery, but they do anyway. So it wasn't until I had a car accident at Howard Franklin. I got rear-ended by a woman texting, and she pinched my spinal cord. So now I've got damage in my leg because of this pinched spinal cord. But my recommendation to everybody is just go to a darn clinic. They take Medicare and donor claims.
I hear you on that, but I would disagree with you on that, because I know lots of good local surgeons who are very conservative, who don't go crazy on things. And I actually haven't had as much good result of my patients that have gone to these big clinics and got the same workup that we have done locally and got told nothing useful. So there's a difference all around. And I think if you find a really good local doctor who knows you, William Osler, the father of internal medicine, said that the good clinician knows everything about the disease his patient has, but the exceptional clinician knows everything about his patient who has the disease.
Right. Well, I can appreciate that, and that's really sounds great, but it just don't happen.
How do you need to keep looking and have it happen, because it can happen, and people need hope to know that they can find doctors out there that can do the right thing. And you did find somebody good at the Mayo, and I'm really glad for you.
Yeah, Mayo Clinic does not do surgery on your back to take away pain. They do not.
No, and neither does the good neurosurgeons that I send people to. Thank you, Bob. This is discussion.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time, Doctor, but, I wanted people to know that, they need to really research it.
They do. That's the truth. They do need to actually talk to a bunch of people for other opinions. Like, go to see 2 doctors if you're looking at major surgery.
Right. Well, I had gone to 3. So it you know what? You can be as careful as I was, and still.
And stuff still happens.
Because they did not check me for osteoporosis before my first surgery.
Yes. You got to have a good foundational primary doctor to actually help you do your health screenings.
Right. Okay. I appreciate your time, Doctor. Thank you so much.
Yes. Have a great day. Good luck with that back.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Thank you there, Bob. And I do have David, Lisa, and Nona on the line. Let's go to David in St. Pete also. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning. Good morning, Dr. Fred. I've talked with you before. I have a friend here who has heartburn, severe heartburn, only when he eats stuff with potassium in it. A banana, anything like that. He don't know what to do about it. Besides taking antacid pills, Can you recommend something?
So he has heartburn when he eats anything that has potassium in it?
Yes. He can't drink a Gatorade or some other stuff.
Well, I wouldn't drink a Gatorade anyway because it's poison. It's got artificial colors and flavors and stuff in it. But the banana, he just may be reacting to the banana. How's he do with white potatoes and cantaloupe?
How do you do with white potatoes, Don? The cantaloupe and stuff. He said they're fine.
Yeah, so it's not potassium that's doing it. He's probably reacting to certain foods and certain poisons. Like Gatorade's a poison. Banana has certain things in it that trigger a lot of people to get heartburn. Many people don't like bananas because of their property.
So you don't think it's the potassium only? It's something else?
No, I don't think it's potassium at all.
Okay, that's good to know.
I think it's the poison in the Gatorade, and he doesn't like bananas. His body doesn't like bananas. If he's okay with high potassium white potatoes and cantaloupe, how about celery?
Celery gets him, he said. Oh.
Yeah, so certain things are good, certain things are bad. I'd actually keep a list of the foods that are triggers and then just avoid the trigger foods. Possibly go and check it out with a nutritionist to see what else is going on there. Could be a food allergy.
What do you think about acetaba? Should he drink some of that?
Some what?
Acetaba? I've talked with you about it before. I think it would help him.
No answer on that one.
Okay. Yeah, I know. All right. Well, thanks, Dr. Fred. It's great to talk to you.
You too. Have a great day.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, David.
And let's go to Lisa in Gulfport. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning.
Hi there.
Hi there. Appreciate you, Dr. Harvey, very, very much. I don't call in very often, but I listen all the time, so grateful. I've got two things. One, I've been on my bike, and it's a beach cruiser, so I call it a 2-speed, left leg, right leg. I want to know what you think about that versus walking.
I think
doing it for 10 years. It's my main source of transportation for about the last 10 years.
Well, if you're using it for your main source of transportation, you're well ahead of most of the population. Do you ride it every day?
Every day.
And how long do you ride it for every day?
A minimum 30 minutes to a couple hours. Depends where I got to get going.
If you want to add some walking to it, fine, but this is a great form of exercise. Keep doing it.
Okay, awesome. Second thing, regarding cannabis.
Yes.
Capitalist system. Pretty sure all the corporations providing us, maybe not in California, maybe not in the, Oregon or Washington State possibly, but people need to look into the plant growth regulators. Those are added. That's why the cannabis looks like nuggets, very hard. A friend of mine who has great access to organic, we'll say homegrown, that has researched that, and I was surprised. I was like, why does it look so different? And in the research, this is what he has found, that plant growth regulators are added through the system, so people are getting in medical marijuana major chemicals that when you look it up and read about it, very damaging. Damaging to people that are trying to heal. Needless to say, of course, that's our system. I call it, I'm ahead of you, I call it the American death care system. I don't participate. In fact, I'm having an issue with getting into health care. I thought Medicare, when you reached Medicare, you got to go to the doctor for free. Now, that might be how it was until Masters of Business got in and created this Advantage Care madness, because I don't get enough Social Security. It's like right now I need the $200 they want me to pay to go to a doctor. And I don't go to doctors. I'm relatively healthy. I think if I go to doctors, they'll tell me all these things. Not regular doctors, not functional doctors will tell me, oh, well, you need this and this and this. And I just don't trust them. I've been doing well myself. I've had probably 4 pap smears in my whole life. I'm 65 years of age. Now, something may happen. I accept that responsibility. But that's why our system pretty much sucks.
Well, I think that, yes, everyone has the responsibility to research and understand what they're choosing to use and add to their health care. Pap smears have a really, really strong purpose. People that aren't monogamous and have a risk for HPV have a risk for cervical cancer, so it's worth screening. Someone who's been monogamous and had a couple of negative pap smears probably isn't going to have a need for another one. The incidence of breast cancer goes up because the exposure to toxins in our lives continues throughout our lives. So there's always an increase in breast cancer. So doing monthly manual breast examinations yourself is the most important health intervention for breast cancer, not a mammogram. Touching your breasts and knowing what your breasts feel like, so that if there's a change, you recognize it and you can go to the doctor. This is proactive health. And I heard Robert F. Kennedy mention that people need to do their own research about vaccines. Well, no, people don't. That's the dumbest thing I've heard. This is what the alt-right and all these weird people are saying. I did my research. Well, no, you really didn't, because you weren't in a laboratory accessing human health data and putting it together through statistical analysis. You were reading some health influencer like Casey Means, blah, 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 blog, and reading their opinion about something rather than actually reading the research or doing some. And so, yeah, you need some help, I think, some guidance in in quotes, doing your own research, because, I don't think 90% of the population has the educational equipment to do their own research. That's the problem. We need experts who have actually done that research and can talk to you about the reality of it. And you are so totally correct about plant growth regulators. Everyone uses them. There are some natural ones and there's some synthetic ones. And so they all use them to get better yield so they can make more profit. So yeah, we're back to extractive profiteering. Do we need to do that? No, but we want to make more profits, so we do that. Are they safe? There's a possibility that some of the natural ones might be safe, but we don't know because nobody's really actually studied them. And so, I wish that, the insanity of this regulation would go away and we could grow our own, because then we could control what goes on the plant. Why aren't we allowed to grow 1 or 6 in our backyard? California, you just pay a fee for a tag for your plant. It's no big deal. Like, why aren't we allowed to grow our own? Why do we have to actually pay a corporation to poison us?
Because it's the American death care system. If you don't have sick people, you don't have a for-profit healthcare system. You've got to have sick people, unfortunately. And people just don't that way. People don't demand what we deserve. We need to demand organic. It's amazing. It's just, the more you know, the harder it is. I have very dense breasts, so mammograms don't really help. What I should be allowed to have, since I have dense breasts, is an ultrasound. But how about an
MRI? They work great. No radiation.
But that's not, no, we need radiation because, I'm sure in the back of their heads, they know that will give them a certain percentage of people.
In actuality, you can go and get your ultrasound. You can go and get your MRI. You just have to pay cash for it if your doctor won't order it. You can get any test that you want. This is capitalistic America. It's just you have to have the cash to do it.
Right. You have to have the amount of money to do it. Just like, getting rid of property taxes in the state. People are like, oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. No, that is just for the super wealthy.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have an $18 million homesteaded haven here to hide their cash, but don't pay taxes on it. Love it. It, yes. Anyway, thanks for your input.
I'll look into some, I'll read some more on the plant growth regulator. But, people need to be aware that that's the research they need to do, not on scientific research that's way proven, like vaccines. It's just craziness. And luckily, I can't stand to listen to Kennedy. Can't stand to listen to his voice, so...
Well, not only is his voice grating, but the nonsense that he admits from there is damaging and stupid. And it's like listening to marbles roll around in a box saying nothing is really not worth my time.
Yeah, I mean that's like what is that? 100% of the people in the regime, people have been hired, absolutely, and it's. It's like distraction, confusion, stupidity, and unfortunately...
It's grifting. It's purposeful gaslighting so the grift can go on. Anyway, thanks for your input, and have a great week.
Thanks. You too. Take good care. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you there, Lisa. And I want to first start out by thanking Nano for waiting patiently, but we're down to the last 10 minutes, so I want to invite those stragglers to give us a call here at the Healthy Steps Radio Show with Dr. Fred Harvey in WMNF Tampa. Just jingle 813-239-9663. Let's go to Nano, also in St. Pete.
Hello, Dr. Harvey.
Hi.
Hi, I've called before. I'm a journalist, and I've been following, as you know, I've been following farm workers and organic agriculture for many years. Yes. I was just going to say that when your earlier caller asked about different forms of organic, it takes, I'm sure you know this, but just for your listeners, it takes about 7 to 10 years to become certified organic.
Right.
It costs over $10,000, and you have to pay because you have to pay for testing every year. There is an area which they call transitional, and that's when somebody is in this 10-year period attempting to go into full organic growing. Because they have to test the soil and make sure that after 10 years that it's still organic and all of that sort of thing. So transitional, I know at Rollin' Oats where they have all organic vegetables and fruits all the time. Occasionally they will have something that's labeled transitional, usually by the store. No, it does. I don't know what the number would be. 9, of course, is always organic.
Right.
But these may not have a certification on them because some of them come locally, but they will have a little handwritten sign saying transitional, which means that the company, the growers are not using any pesticides, but they have not been certified yet. That's all.
Those are the people, like locally, I think here, there was one in Bradenton, they called themselves a no-spray farm. They're trying to get there, but at this point, they're not there.
Right, exactly, and they're sort of called transitional. So if you encounter that somewhere, that is possibly that they're not using actively pesticides or anything like that on their agricultural products, but they haven't been certified. The other thing I wanted to ask you is I heard a debate over the last couple of days about functional medicine and the new Surgeon General who is appointed. Is that Carrie Means?
Carrie Means, yeah, or Cassie Means.
Okay, what did you say?
Yeah, she is actually a non-practicing, never been licensed physician who never finished her residency and went into health influencing and wellness marketing with her brother, who's a wellness entrepreneur. And so she has some good ideas. She has on her blog some points of interest that are really important, like getting the additives out of food. Yeah, she has some really good points there. That she's never treated a human makes me really wonder whether she's actually an appropriate choice for Surgeon General. The same way goes for a lawyer in charge of health and human services that has no clue anything about healthcare. He just has an environmental concern. I question all, and having a health insurance owning grifter in charge of Medicare and Medicaid services. We have a whole grift culture going on there.
Oh, absolutely. But the thing I was concerned about is I heard several different discussions on TV and on NPR where they talked about her. Someone said she followed functional medicine. And then
she does, I think, but she's not a certified functional medicine practitioner like me and many others.
Right. Well, the thing that was concerning to me was the fact that the people that were discussing this were saying things like, oh, functional medicine, what's that? Oh, that's alternative medicine. Oh.
Yeah, there's a bunch of creepy, weird people attached to bad ideas about illness care and think that the American medical system of illness care is the only way to talk about reality. They're delusional people.
Right, because I just wanted to bring that to the attention,
I just read an article there. The woman was making fun of Casey Means, but honestly, I don't think she's an appropriate choice for Surgeon General, but some of her ideas really make sense. They're functional ideas. Get rid of the poisons. Stop poisoning humans. Stop subsidizing the poisoning of American food. This is just stupid stuff. It's low-hanging fruit that we could just take care of, but we don't.
I know. I had an old family doctor when I was a kid in the 60s. They had, our family doctor still came to the house, and he never hardly ever gave out drugs or anything, and all he would do is say, eat more vegetables, eat better,
Yeah, exactly.
get rid of that junk. And,
I love it.
He was just an old-time doctor. All right, Dr. Harvey, thank you. I just wanted to let people know there is a transitional thing, and I was curious about the functional alternative medicine thing.
I'll talk more about her in the future. I just wanted to do a little bit more research, but yeah, that's the point. It's like I love functional medicine, and Western medicine can't deal with it because it calls out Western medicine's idiocy.
Right, exactly. And also, I had a friend who looked something up. He was having a pain in his arm, and he realized that he had been taking 3,000 milligrams of B12 every day. And when he couldn't find a 1,000 milligram or microgram dose. So he got a pain in his arm, and he went online on Quora, and he found out that he's convinced himself that his myelin sheath was disintegrating because he had an overdose of B12. Because
oh my God, that's so funny, and it's exactly the opposite of what would happen.
Yeah, really, because he said someone on Quora said that an overdose of vitamin B12 would cause your myelin sheath to deteriorate.
It's actually the underdose, and I think that the issue is there. Stop listening to people on Quora. Go to a doctor.
Really? I suggested that too. So, anyway.
Thank you, Nan.
All right, well, thank you. You have a good week. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. I think I'm going to switch over to emails now, Bill.
Yeah, we're down to the last few minutes with no callers anyway, so not a bad thing to do.
Very good. So Bill here sends an email asking about hypertension. When allopathic medicines aren't effective, what can lower blood pressure? Does chelation therapy help? There must be a way to lower it. Yes, actually, if you apply the things that I talked about in my first 10 minutes with the neurosurgeon, the same things that apply for the blue zone living, the 8 rules of living in the blue zone, which is get sleep, get water, have a purpose in life, eat a plant-based diet, exercise every day, have a tribe, have a family to download, de-stress. These things keep you alive. They help actually get rid of high blood pressure. And so, yeah, I think that's a very good approach. And then call up your local functional medicine doctor for a new idea. And then here's one from Pete. Oh, Pete sent the email. Thanks so much for sharing your view on that video that I sent. I hope he used bug spray on his other. Oh, poor guy was just getting eaten by mosquitoes on his video. If you guys go look at it. Here's one from Sally. My doctor recently suggested that I get on bioidentical hormones to deal with osteoporosis. I'm 73, have never had it. My 77-year-old sister had breast cancer and surgery. It was estrogen dominant. What's your opinion about bioidentical hormones for bone growth? Well, actually, I think they're useful. And I think that progesterone is anti-breast cancer and anti-uterine cancer and is a good place to start. So is DHEA, a very good bone trophic hormone. But I would talk to a good doctor who deals with bioidentical hormones, a good functional medicine practitioner, someone who can help guide you through that. Because at 73 with a family history of breast cancer, you may not want to add that. Thanks for your input today, everybody. This was a great show. Really enjoy talking with you all. And thank you, Bill, for being my in-studio board runner and co-host here. Thank you, Irene, for answering all those phone calls. And thank you, listeners, for calling in, for emailing in, and participating in the discussion. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week.
Well, and thank you too, Doctor, for another great show. And, of course, to all of our callers. They've really made this show pop. And, Irene, we couldn't do the show without you. So, until next week, I want to thank everybody and remind you all, take care and stay healthy. You have been listening to the Healthy Steps Radio Show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa. Waiting at the crossroads just ahead is 5 minutes of NPR News, followed by the Sustainable Living Show, hosted by the esteemed team of Sustainability, Tanya Vidvik and Annie Ellis. Until next Monday at 10 a.m., thank you for supporting and listening to the Healthy Steps Radio Show with Dr. Fred Harvey here on WMNF Tampa, your community conscious radio station. Stay safe, stay thoughtful, and know that you are loved.